OPPO goes in by going thin with their latest foldable that is literally the slimmest folding smartphone available right now. But what makes the OPPO Find N5 so interesting is how much it can actually do with so little. Hey, it's Joshua Vergara. What's going on, everybody? This is the OPPO Find N5, day one. That's right, we're hitting the ground running with a day one on this foldable, which I have actually had for a little bit leading up to the launch event here in Singapore. With how busy everything has been recently, however, I only really got to use this phone genuinely once I got on that super long plane ride across the Pacific. We did it. 17 plus hour trip, finally in the books, which means I am here in Singapore. I'm super happy to be here in Singapore again since the last time I came here was over 10 years ago. If anything, a phone like this that unfolds into an 8-inch tablet makes a lot of sense for a flight like that where distractions and videos and games are needed more than ever. Singapore's already treating us pretty well, but so is the OPPO Find N5. This thing is super thin, easy to just carry around, and then whenever you want it, you could just get into the larger display, which obviously has been working really well, just running around these streets in Singapore, finding places to go. But sometimes, even if you use a phone like this, get on maps, search for places to go, you might run into some places that you weren't even thinking of, like the long bar here, which is where they invented the Singapore Sling. And that's the reason, at least for me, that foldables like this are usually pretty exciting. The problem has been that with these notebook-style smartphones, they tend to be bigger, thicker, weightier, and thus they ask a little bit more from your hands and from your pocket. Sure, there have been advances in minimizing the amount of space that these kinds of phones take up, but OPPO really has to be commended with how much they were able to shave off in the Find N5. It certainly is a big part of their marketing of this phone, as was easily seen not just during the launch event obviously, but also at the OPPO stores that were within walking distance of the hotel I was staying at. So there's a fun thing that they do here at Long Bar. Since it's the place where they invented the Singapore Sling, they also kind of made it easier to make. There's a machine over there that looks like pistons in an engine where you kind of crank it and it shakes up the drink, like 6 of them all at once. Unfortunately, they're not using it right now, but for a pretty good reason. It's already noisy enough in here. That would make it even worse. Brandon,
Yeah,
they let you crank it.
I cranked it. I cranked it real good for a while. I was just cranking, I just kept going, and I kept going faster.
We're done. Seriously though, it is a big deal when a phone that is trying to provide a tablet-like experience, let me try to grip this here, a tablet-like experience unfolded manages to feel like a regular bar phone when it is folded. This is really easy to grip. That's exactly the aha moment that stands out when first using the Find N5. The rails on the sides are just thick enough to wrap around a USB-C port, and the buttons, which are admittedly a little too high up on the right side for full comfort. Given the nature of this folding design, the alert slider ends up on the same side as the other buttons, which I just found a little bit funny since usually it's on the other side of a normal bar phone that you might find from like OPPO or OnePlus. Seeing the sides be this thin might make you feel like this is a fragile phone at first, but the aluminum that makes up the frame does feel nice and sturdy. The color in my case is this misty white, which has a matted but still super smooth feel, which is actually helped by the fact that this comes with an included case that I like. Now, in the unboxing, I was first confused by the case, thinking that I only got one half of it. But then I gave OPPO a nod for the deliberate choice to only have the back half encased in a grippier material once it is on. I know quite a few of the tech homies that only tend to use the back halves of their cases to minimize how much chunkier the full case would make the overall footprint of their foldable feel. And then here is OPPO actually taking that into consideration and making that how their case works. Kudos. Super damn excited because I finally get to go to a hawker center, get a bunch of really good food for affordable prices, and yes, this one, you didn't get to see the sign, but this is the Newton Hawker Center, and yes, this is the one that was in Crazy Rich Asians. Okay, so now let's unfold the possibilities. First off, the hinge has a good feel to it during the movement, and it is helped along by the fact that the titanium material further elevates the notion that this is a premium foldable. And on top of that, quite literally, is the least amount of crease that I think I have seen on a foldable yet. It's great to see as the years go by that one of the key aspects that tends to turn people off from folding smartphones is getting easier to just look past. But of course, the star of the show is the large display of around 8 inches that helps blow up singular apps or makes for a canvas that can arguably multitask with the best of them. And during this day one, I was able to take full advantage of both of those scenarios. That comes down to having the Snapdragon 8 Elite as the processor, which definitely comes in handy to make sure that the ColorOS is not just smooth, but is able to handle it if I choose to use this canvas to its full extent. Haven't had a chance to walk around one of the many shopping areas that are found in this general area in Singapore. However, in the one that's connected to our hotel, there's already an OPPO store. I don't believe that they're open yet. You can actually see the Find N5 services right there, and I'm actually holding one, so I should probably walk out. Still, looking for that coffee, and hopefully we'll be able to get a nice little boost to start this day before the launch tonight. Look, I'm not gonna knock a place for having my name on it. But if you're going to talk about Josh's grill, first of all, it might be called JV's grill. It's going to be yakitori. You know me, I love to make some yakitori. Honestly, shouts out to this place here, Ask Coffee Roastery. You can hear all the stuff going on in the background. Hopefully you can hear me just fine. I came here to script out a couple of videos, and that's exactly what I was able to do given the foldable keyboard I have here that paired really well with the foldable in the OPPO Find N5. It was easy for me to be able to get all of that work done, especially by folding the phone up a little bit and typing on it in that way. One problem though is that the hinge that's on the phone is not the strongest at certain angles, so I did contend with the phone just like plopping all the way open at times. A little bit annoying, but it happens sometimes with these foldables. Now the Find N5 does manage to round out all of those specs with a very impressively sized 5,600 milliamp hour silicone carbon battery that is housed within the two halves of this phone. It has managed to work quite well in these early days of using the big screen to like navigate around with Google Maps and ask where the best hawker stalls are and where I can get some coffee in the areas around me here in Singapore, or to play games and share pictures and videos with others in a larger manner. To me, that's one of the best parts about using a larger foldable like this. If you're trying to show somebody something on this screen, remember, you can always open it up and then they'll have a much better look at it. OPPO doesn't really skimp on the charging either, with Super VOOC on deck with up to 80 watt charging wired and a whopping 50 watts wireless. Unfortunately, I totally whiffed on actually bringing any proper VOOC chargers with me on this trip. I do have a Qi 2 wireless charger on hand, but OPPO opted to go proprietary with their standard, so I'm just gonna have to wait until I get home to really reap the proper benefits. Still, really fast charging is always appreciated, and it's good to know I can rely on it here in the Find N5. On the topic of wireless charging, however, there was a little bit of a surprise after the first night here in Singapore. The magnetic case might cover up the white color of my phone, but I'm okay with that so long as I can put the phone easily on the wireless chargers that I do have on me. So obviously you've been seeing a lot of photos and videos coming from this phone throughout this video, so let me know what you think in the comments down below. A few thoughts about the software, however. It's really nice to see how far OPPO has come in terms of maturing, not just the phones themselves, because this is a great foldable, but also the software in ColorOS. Now, to be fair, there are a couple of blemishes here and there. There are certain things that get lost in translation, but ColorOS for the most part has been working really well. And once you open up the OPPO Find N5, it goes into the tablet version of various applications like YouTube. Once you do, turn it over to landscape, just sort of rotate the phone. I know for a lot of people out there, it's going to be all about getting all the games to just blow up to the big screen or to just have a better interface in apps like YouTube. It's all appreciated. So for the tea break on this video, just enjoy yourself, honestly. Like, I've been having a great time in this video, you can tell, because we got the homies here, and we're in a wonderful place. So I just want to say, enjoy what you happen to be experiencing. Whatever that might be, let me know in the comments down below. And also let me know what's going on, everybody. Let me know how you're doing in the comments downstairs, and subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, because I hope you come for the tech, but you stay for the tea. All right, let's finally get into the venue, and let's actually see the OPPO Find N5 become announced. What really puts things over the top here, though, is the multitasking ability, and that means multiple things. First, and honestly probably the best thing, is what OPPO calls the boundless view. You might recognize this from previous ColorOS powered or inspired smartphones, but honestly, it's the best way to have multiple apps open at once. Instead of just splitting the canvas, which you could absolutely do at first here, let's go ahead and open up one other application, let's say YouTube. You can always do just the classic split view right here, but you can also go up to one of these three dots here on either of the apps, expand it, and you get the larger version of it so you can use it comfortably. After that, just tap on any of the other ones and you can expand those as well. This isn't just relegated to just two apps though, and you can see just how smooth the animations are going between these two. You can actually add a third one as well. Once you add that third one of them goes to the bottom, and it just makes for a version of multitasking that is really easy on the eyes and also easy to understand. Once again, expanding this just makes it so that you have full canvases for three different applications all at once. This was how, during the launch event, as the embargo was lifted, I was able to simultaneously upload my unboxing video to every major vertical video platform, type out my description or caption in one of them, and then easily select and drag that text to the other two apps. In almost any other foldable or even tablet, this would have felt like the pretty cramped experience, but the boundless view on here allowed each app to feel basically complete. And like you just saw, it was smooth while going in and out of each one for the various things I needed to do. If you want to talk about an aha moment, this might have been the best one so far. The other thing I wanted to talk about in regards to multitasking are OPPO's olive branches given to the Apple ecosystem. We've already seen how they're trying to bridge the gap between their phones and iPhones with an AirDrop type of feature, but now the O+ Connect app can be installed on a Mac, and you can do whatever you like in the smartphone while also popping over to the O+ Connect to seamlessly transfer files and media and actually control your Mac even remotely. Now, cards on the table, I haven't actually used this version of the O+ Connect app yet on my Find N5 and on my MacBook Pro over here, but the idea of getting media that I've edited from my MacBook easily over to this phone and then simultaneously posting to all of the platforms like I just talked about a second ago, that sounds like a really good productive time and is a huge boon to this phone right here. So clearly this day one has been fruitful and is making this phone feel like a super promising choice as a good main device. Unfortunately, one of the only parts about a foldable that tends to be less exciting than everything else is the camera. And so far, while OPPO is to be commended for bringing some of the processing and quality from their other phones to this still Hasselblad powered shooter, it's still a little bit bogged down by the hardware limitations that a thin phone forces you to have. Let me know what you think of all of the pictures and videos that you've been seeing in this day one piece, but my main takeaways so far is that the main sensor remains the best one to use in almost any scenario, although zoom photos and portraits in good lighting can sometimes impress. The 8-megapixel ultra-wide on here is still able to provide 4K video recording, which is good, but any amount of lower light or cropping into the results goes beyond what the lower resolution is able to provide. All that said, the fact that I found myself pleasantly surprised some of the time after I took a picture or a video is commendable on OPPO's part, but we're still far away from a foldable that can still come anywhere close to the camera quality of their bar phone counterparts. And so, there you have it. Plenty to talk about with the OPPO Find N5 here in this day one. Okay, it was actually like maybe 2 or 3 days all told, but it was still a great time and honestly a wonderful way to revisit Singapore after over 10 years away. Once again, look how far OPPO, and really we, have come since those days. Before this video gets way too long though, I will go ahead and call it on this one. Let me know what you think of the OPPO Find N5 in the comments down below. And yeah, subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, as I said before, because I hope you come for the tech, but you stay for the tea. Okay, I'll go ahead and call it on this one. Thank you so much for kicking it with me again today. Please take care of yourselves and each other, and enjoy your tea, everybody. I need a refill.